It is a rumor in our small town. One of those urban legends kids tell to scare each other during sleepovers. They called him the Blackout Man. According to the stories, if you were alone during a power outage and looked into a mirror, you'd see him standing behind you. No one knew where he came from or why he appeared, but everyone agreed on one thing. Once you saw him, you couldn't unsee him. Last October, a severe storm hit our town, causing widespread blackouts. I was home alone, my parents stuck at work because of the weather. The wind howled outside, making the house creak and groan. I sat in the living room, my only source of light a flickering candle on the coffee table. I could hear the rain lashing against the windows, the storm showing no sign of letting up. Around midnight, I remembered the legend of the Blackout Man. I laughed it off at first, just a stupid story, right? But the more I thought about it, the more unnerved I became. My mind kept wandering to the large mirror in the hallway. Fueled by a mix of curiosity and fear, I grabbed the candle and made my way to the hallway. The house was eerily silent, the only sound the faint patter of rain. I stood in front of the mirror, the candlelight casting a dim glow around me. Taking a deep breath, I stared at my reflection, half expecting to see anything appear behind me. For a long moment, there was nothing. I sighed in relief, feeling a bit foolish, but as I turned to leave, the candle flickered and went out. I was plunged into darkness. My heart raced as I fumbled to relight the candle, my hands shaking. When the flame finally sparked back to life, I lifted it to the mirror again. This time I froze. There, standing behind me, was a shadowy figure, its face obscured in darkness. My blood ran cold as I realized it wasn't just a trick of the light. The Blackout Man was real. I spun around, but there was no one there. The hallway was empty. I turned back to the mirror, and he was gone. My reflection was the only thing staring back at me. My mind raced. Had I really seen him? Was it just my imagination? For the next few days, I tried to forget about it, convincing myself it had been a stress-induced hallucination. But the feeling of being watched never left me. I started avoiding mirrors, unable to shake the memory of that dark figure. A week later, the power went out again, this time during broad daylight. I was in the bathroom, washing my face. The room went pitch black, and I felt a chill run down my spine. I didn't want to look up, but some morbid curiosity forced me to. There he was in the mirror, closer this time. His eyes were visible black, empty voids that seemed to suck the light out of the room. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. He raised a hand, pointing directly at me, his mouth opening in a silent scream. The lights flickered back on, and he vanished. I stumbled out of the bathroom, shaking uncontrollably. I knew then that the stories were true, and once you saw the Blackout Man, he never left you alone. I left town shortly after that, unable to stay in a place where he could find me. But even now, in a different city, miles away, I avoid mirrors. Because sometimes, in the corner of my eye, I still see him. And I know, deep down, that one day the lights will go out for good, and he will be waiting.